Hey fam, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be making some freshly squeezed orange juice and some homemade donuts for my family. So this is my first time making donuts at home, so I'm actually going to attempt to make it in my bread machine and see how that turns out. So here we are, just getting the ingredients together. I'm mixing my yeast with some warm milk to activate it. And then we're going to put all of the ingredients for the donuts in the bread maker. So while that's mixing, kneading, and rising in the bread machine, we're going to go ahead and get started on prepping our oranges for the juicer. So today we're using Valencia oranges, and I have about 40 pounds of oranges to process. And this should last our family about a month, maybe a month and a half of orange juice. And as you'll see later in the video, once we're finished juicing all the oranges, we'll then go ahead and pack them up in individual little bottles, and I'll just store those in the freezer. And what we do is whenever someone wants orange juice, we just take it out of the freezer, put it into the refrigerator, let it thaw off, and then we have some freshly squeezed orange juice at home. Works great. Here I am continuing to cut the oranges in half, getting them ready for the actual citrus juicer. Now, friends, I will honestly say this project is a labor of love. And as you can see, I was trying to figure out the most efficient way to get this done. Like, is it better to cut a few in half and then put them back in the pan? Or do I just cut all at once? I wasn't really sure. I think I was doing a little bit of everything in this project. But let me know what you guys would have done. Would you have cut all the oranges in half and then start juicing? Or would you have cut some in half, start juicing, and then go back and cut the rest in half, then continue juicing? I don't know which one's better, but this is the way I did it this day. Here we are. After all that slicing and dicing, we have all our oranges cut in half and ready for juicing. Now, I don't know if I mentioned before, but I chose the Valencia oranges for this project just because that was what was recommended at the market, and we really do love the Valencia oranges. So now I have my electric juicer set up. So now I'm just going to start juicing these oranges. So we're just continuing to juice, and more juice. As you can see at this point, I've collected quite a bit of juice, freshly squeezed orange juice. And we're just continuing, we're almost done, but we're just going to continue on until we're finished with all the oranges. Now, as I'm juicing, the fibrous inside of the oranges that you see me pulling off the juicer, I'm just putting that to the side to discard that. But the pulp that's collected in the strainer portion here that I'm scraping off, I'm putting that into a separate container, and we'll use that later on for another recipe. But basically it's just like the pulp of the orange, so that's still good. And what I like to use that for is to actually make an orange sauce later, because it gives the orange sauce a little bit of a texture. And that's great for like orange chicken or other recipes like that. So we're using every bit of this orange that we can. Now, because my family specifically, we like pulp-free orange juice, I do the extra step of straining the freshly squeezed orange juice through a separate strainer before I bottle it up for freezing, but that's totally optional. And what I do, similar to before, the pulp that I get from the strainer, I just add it to my pulp container, and like as I mentioned, we use that to make orange sauce. And here we are. This is our freshly squeezed orange juice. The mason jar and the big container is the orange juice, and the small circular container, that is the orange pulp. So I went ahead and placed the mason jar container into the refrigerator so that can start chilling, so we can have some freshly squeezed orange juice later with our donuts. So at this point, it's been about an hour, hour and a half-ish, and we're going to go back and check on our dough in the bread maker. As you can see, it's raising quite a bit. So we're just going to go ahead and get this rolled out, and then we're going to start shaping our dough. So I went ahead and rolled out my baking mat onto the countertop, and I'm just going to sprinkle that with a little bit of flour so our dough won't stick. And now we're going to go ahead and get our dough rolled out, aiming for about a 1/2 inch thickness for this dough. But as you'll see, I think I kind of worked it a little bit too much, but we're just going to go with the flow. As I mentioned, this is my first time attempting to make donuts at home, so it's kind of a learning experience. Now, as I was rolling this dough, I was kind of trying to test it out and press it down because it was, I think because I made it in the bread machine, it was a little thicker than I anticipated it would be. So I was just trying to see if it would work or not. But at this point, we're just going to roll with it. And I also could not find my cookie donut cutters anywhere. So I had to get creative and use a small bowl and a shot glass to make the shapes. But it actually worked out. It wasn't the easiest, but it worked. So we were able to get it done. So as I am cutting out the donuts, I'm just putting them on a lined baking sheet. And once that's done, I'm going to put them in the oven with the oven light on so they can rise for another hour. And then I'll start frying out our donuts. Now, fam, are you a fan of large donuts or do you prefer mini donuts or donut holes? As I was cutting out this dough, I thought about making different shapes, but I just kind of made all large donuts in this batch. But I think next time I'll definitely do some mini donuts as well. Let me know which one you prefer in the comments. And here we are. I'm just going to rest these in the oven with the light so they can do their second rise, and we'll check on them in around an hour. So now I'm just going to get started on bottling up the orange juice that we squeezed earlier. And I'm going to end up putting these in a variety of different bottles. So some will go in large bottles, and the bottles that will be in the freezer will be the smaller individual bottles. Now, as I'm filling these bottles, I'm making sure not to fill them all the way to the top so that when they do freeze, they tend to expand a little bit so that the bottles won't burst open. So here we are. have it, friends. This is our bottled orange juice. And now I'm just pouring the pulp mixture into a large mason jar. And I'm going to rest that into the refrigerator, and then we'll use it to make orange sauce another day. To my large Dutch oven, I'm going to go ahead and add some cooking oil. We're going to get ready to fry our donuts. So I'm adding the oil, and then I'll give this a minute to warm up to about 350, 375-ish, and then we'll start frying our donuts. But while this warms up, we're going to go ahead and get started on the glaze for our donuts. So I'm going to do two glaze. One, I'm going to do a traditional clear glaze. That was going to be the first bowl, and then in the second bowl, instead of a traditional clear glaze, I'm going to do more of like an orange glaze. So for the first bowl, we're adding traditionally milk, to the powdered sugar, and some vanilla extract. And then to the second container, we're going to add orange juice instead of the milk for that orange glaze. So here we are, we're just giving this a good stir to get all the lumps out. Now I did not sift my powdered sugar before doing this, so it was a little bit lumpy, so I did a little bit of extra work in stirring, but we were able to get that smooth. So here we are, just making the glaze. And then we're going to get started on frying our donuts. So here I am frying our first donut. So what I did was I put it in the pan for about 45 seconds, and once it starts browning, then I'll flip it over another 45 seconds and it's all done. And I took it out and put it on a grill rack to start cooling, and then I continue frying the other ones until we were all done. And this went really fast. The tip is not to overcrowd the pan because if you put too many in at once, it's hard to maneuver the donuts. So I did about one at a time in some donut holes until I was finished. Once I was finished frying all the donuts, I went ahead and started glazing each one individually. So basically I would drop the donut into the bowl of glaze, give it a swirl, flip it over, and then I would put it back on the grill pan to drip any excess glaze off onto that pan. And then we're going to get this plated up and we're all done. here we are pouring some of that freshly squeezed orange juice that we made earlier. And we're going to enjoy a cup of this with our freshly made donuts. Thank you guys so much for stopping by and watching our video today. We hope you enjoy the recipe. Give it a try. If you'd like to see more videos, please subscribe to the channel and check out one of our previous videos as well. Thank you guys. Bye.